They're the masterminds behind perfect play calling. Go with them, and your home loan experience will end in a victory parade in your new neighborhood. You're the perfect free agent to sign with the best loan originators in the game, and Cross Country Mortgage is dedicated to getting it done. Reach out today at ccm.com. That's ccm.com.
Equal housing opportunity. All loans subject to underwriting approval. Cross Country Mortgage LLC. NMLS 3029. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida's the Panhandle's destination for the Atlanta Braves.
Got him swinging strike three.
Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves are back.
Unbelievable.
And hungry for more. Listen to the world champion Atlanta Braves on a world champion radio station.
Rosario knocked the living daylights out of it.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Afternoon sunshine, a few scattered clouds, and the low 80s. A northeast wind about 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf, 83. Partly cloudy, 55 to 60 overnight with light winds. Low 80s, mostly sunny skies planned for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another college football season. And welcome back to another season of Fansville by Dr. Pepper. Fansville. That little slice of heaven. Every man, woman, and student section drinks Dr. Pepper like their life depends on it. It does. Where the air is filled with the scent of charcoal grills, and the streets are marked with yard lines. Practical. Where the current trending baby names are Blitz, Spike, and two-point conversion. Adorable. And recruitment starts before you're born. It's a linebacker. Where NFT stands for Not Fun Tailgate, and DIY stands for Dr. Pepper is Yummy. It is. It's the place off-season fever dreams are made of, where the right to life, liberty, and barbecue is written in the town's constitution. Saucy. And the current forecast is sunny, with a 90% chance of the skies opening up and raining down delicious droplets of Dr. Pepper. Grab a bucket. Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. Grab some today.
Game days are always better at Dave & Buster's. That's because more TV inches, more food and drinks, more space, and more fun make the game we all know and love more special. Nothing beats seeing your favorite team take the field on the two 12-foot big screens or 26 75-inch TVs. Throw in the arcade experience and you've got a winning atmosphere that no other sports bar can deliver. Follow the fun at Dave & Buster's, Panama City Beach on Facebook and Instagram. Eat, drink, play, and watch sports at Dave & Buster's.
Tired of being overcharged each month for health insurance or finding out you still have significant out-of-pocket costs from copays or deductibles when you do go see the doctor? Hi, I'm Kevin Shady with KHS and Associates. Our independent insurance agency has helped individuals, families, and even small business employees lower their health care insurance costs with no copays, no 80/20 coinsurance, and no deductibles unless you're hospitalized overnight. Call or text us at 502-386-1128. That's 502-386-1128.
Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, this is Tim.
Do y'all sell bait?
Yes, we seasonally stock live shrimp, live bull minnows, live sand fleas, live fiddler crabs, earthworms, night crawlers, crickets. We also stock frozen shrimp, sand fleas, mullets, squid, pre-rigged ballyhoo, bonita, stingray, cigar minnows, Boston mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and a few other miscellaneous baits. It's worth the drive to buy premium locally sourced bait from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Hi, I'm Ann Margaret. I went to Vietnam to entertain the troops in 1966 and 1968. My guys, my gentlemen, if you lived through the Vietnam War era, you know the impact that the war had. But today, we are in danger of history being lost. Current generations know very little about the war or the people who served it. As more of our Vietnam vets pass away each day, their stories are being lost to history. Together, we can change that. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund is the organization that built the wall. It works to ensure that future generations will understand the war's impact. Let's help keep the promise that the wall was built on. Never forget. Visit vvmf.org to find out how you can get involved.
As far back as she can remember, Amy loved computers, how they worked, what they could do. They were a challenge. She wanted to learn as much as she could. So she harnessed her passion, and now she's a cybersecurity officer in the military. If you have a passion, a vision for your future in any field, todaysmilitary.com can be your path to a fulfilling career. You have a calling, we have an answer. Find your way at todaysmilitary.com.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Northwest Florida, what's going on? You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, and delighted to have Max Delighten in the building. It's not your minute with Max today, but we are going to be getting into that tomorrow afternoon. Let me mute my laptop over here so I'm not just hearing myself twice like I'm listening to a commercial or something. But yeah, you're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on 104.3 here in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, and Apalachicola, and on 102.1 in Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay, where we are giving you a chance to win a championship getaway. That's right, we're talking about the SEC championship game. That is going to be huge. Much like the 5-year flyaway, we'll be doing the same sort of contesting here for the SEC championship. I believe we'll do the 5th caller. It's going to be on the Coach James Hale show, I believe, at 8:45 in the morning. Details will be coming out soon with that. I think we're going to do ours at either 4:45 or 5:15. I prefer 4:45 because that's when we normally do our giveaways. Sure. But then again, at 5:15, it's the second hour. More people are in their vehicles, traveling home from work. So we're going to figure out the best way to go about it. But what a great Monday it is. Every Monday, right, after a full day of Saturday college football, then Sunday you turn around and next week will be the same way as well. But we got started at 8:30. I had to set my alarm for 8:15. And matter of fact, couldn't even stay up for the whole USC game because I got so tired Saturday night. I was like, I think that it's going to be kind of an Oregon State type finish here where USC struggles for the first half and not as good as a struggle win, if you will. They pulled away. They pulled away. And now, but, you know, a lot of people is like, well, look, the Pac-12 is cut and dry now. Not so fast, my friend. I don't think that that's true when you've got UCLA. Oregon's still playing good ball. I don't know if they play in the regular season or not this year. But, yeah, there's teams out there that could absolutely knock off the USC Trojans. Now, I will say that maybe my strength of, I don't want to call it hatred because it's not hatred for Caleb Williams, but I don't think that he's all that good. Then I went back and looked at the totality of the numbers from this year, and I'm like, and then after this week, actually, he's surpassed Bryce Young in passing yards and stuff. Now, the quality of opponents I don't think is just there, if you will, but there's still some things to be said about that USC Trojan offense, and really what's kind of funny about it that I think is getting left in the dark is they are good defensively as well. They kind of live or die by the turnover margin, and they're winning the turnover margin, so they're living a lot.
Which is unique for a Lincoln Riley team, too. It's always been an offensive, kind of air raid style. So
I mean, look at Oklahoma. They bring in a defensive guy to be their new head coach. Y'all seen it? Yeah, I seen the defense maybe the first 2 weeks.
It's
after
like the
that,
worst rushing defense I've seen in a while.
Oh, we're gonna get into a lot more college football and NFL as the show goes on. Derek Tate will be with us today at 5 o'clock and for the 5:15 segment as well. We're going to get in some more college football, specifically in the pick'em world at 5:30. We'll go over college football here in the next segment. We'll go around the track with RJ Starcevich at 4:30. But for now, let's talk a little baseball. So the Braves swept the Mets.
What a series.
What a series. How about that? I mean, the whole year, right? I think we've had a couple of instances where we've had that half game or one game lead, then the very next day we drop a game that maybe we shouldn't have, but it's baseball, 162 games, it's a marathon, not a sprint, all of that good stuff. And then you know, the season's coming to a head, if you will, and boom, 3 games in a row against their top pitchers in DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett. And now it's like one game. It's not even now it's like. It is. They went from what? 29% chance, I believe, according to Fangraphs, going into that game Friday. I was calling the Mosley-Childs game. Great ball game, by the way. Childs did come out on top there, but we'll talk about that at 5:45 this afternoon. So the magic number is 1. They went from having that 29% chance or whatever it was, hovering right around that number, to now 98% chance to win the division for the 5th straight year. How do you feel about the Braves right now, Max?
Man, I would not want to run into the Braves right now. That team's just like running into a buzzsaw. They're just such a fun team to watch because they come out loose every game and they look like they're having fun playing baseball. I mean, you're going against DeGrom, Scherzer. That's 2 of the top 5 pitchers for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, that as our guy Frank the Tank said, he said DeGrom took a heel turn, and he did. I mean.
And it was funny because last Tuesday, right, we were talking about that, and you had mentioned, you know, DeGrom is the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. And when you say in the last 5 years, or you say in the last 2 to 3 years, I 100% agree with you. And does he still have the stuff? Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Yeah. I think the Braves
100%.
Are hot as heck right now. I mean, 75-32 since June 1st. It's crazy what they're doing. And,
Dude.
And I don't think there's any slowing down. Like, I know, like, you know, sometimes we're like recency, but this has been like a 5, or not 5. It's been a 3.5 month thing now. I would not want to face the Braves at all right now.
I think they were, 23-27 at one point, right? And then that stretch that you're talking about, I think it's 77-32. It might be 75-32.
Right.
We're not going to sit here and argue over 2 wins or losses, but
especially when you just need one now.
Right. I mean, it just is so amazing because if you would have told me coming off of your World Series win, you're going to start 23-27, but don't worry, you're going to win 100 games. I would have been like, dude, you need to go get checked out, all right, and put your money where your mouth is. And then his money would have doubled or tripled or quadrupled, whatever, according to the odds at that point in time. And my money would have set in the same exact place. So I just think it's absolutely amazing. I also like a couple of the stats that we have here. The Braves have scored the third most runs in the majors this season while allowing the 5th fewest. Max Fried, and then you kind of go through. We're talking about not only the NL Rookie of the Month for the month of September in Michael Harris, but more than likely, unless they go Spencer Strider.
I think Strider going down kind of clinched it for Harris. Yeah. More of a product.
Dude, and that's just so amazing, right? Because I think the last time that we were talking about, you know, being 1-2 in the voting, at least as far as the Braves are concerned, was Freddie Freeman in his rookie season, and there was a 1-2 punch there. I'm trying to think of who was jockeying with him there. Then you talk about Matt Olson.
Was it Hayward then? Or no?
I think it was. No, I think that's exactly who it was. It was Jason Hayward. I was thinking that it was a pitcher for some reason, but I do believe Jason Hayward. No, it was Craig. It was Craig Kimbrell, man.
Oh.
Both of them turned out to be Cubbies. Now you got Kimbrell with the Dodgers, who kind of gave up his closing spot there. But you talk about Matt Olson coming over and filling those enormous, gigantic shoes of Freddie Freeman. He's done it well. He's leading the team in RBIs with 101 of those things. Dansby Swanson in the contract year. If I'm Max Delyden and I'm running the books and, you know, talking with Alex Anthopoulos and talking with Brian Snitker, what happens with Dansby Swanson? Is this a different situation than Freddie Freeman because he's homegrown in the sense of long before the Atlanta Braves came a-knocking, he was right there in that area?
Man, I mean, that's tough. I know, like, you don't want to talk about losing guys while you're in the midst of a
That's what we're here for, though.
Yeah, but I don't know how they'll be able to retain him because he's drove up his value so much now. And, I think he's a heck of a player, but I think some team that's like a Rangers-esque team is going to swoop in and pay him more than the Braves and Alex Anthopoulos wants to pay him. Which might be a tough reality. But.
And it is that reality of baseball. Speaking of the reality, Caveman Rick comments on Facebook, and he says, come on, Dave, everybody knew that the Mets were going to met it up. And there is a fact there, 100% Caveman Rick. I'm not going to take anything away from that. But when you say it like that, it also takes away from the credit that is due towards the Atlanta Braves, right? Because for the Mets to met it up, in my opinion, you met it up by not playing that team, right? You do it outside of that, but the Braves went in there in their home field, but they took it. And not only that, if they win 2 games, the Mets own the tiebreaker. But by value of winning, or by way of winning all 3 games, now you take the tiebreaker. And now Mets got the Nationals, Braves got the Marlins. You win 1, or let's say you lose all 3, but the Mets lose 1. Now then, that's totally metting it up. Let's say that the Braves lose all 3.
Oh man.
And the Mets just lose 1. That's metting it up. 100%. And they're still metting it up. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to. Verb. Yeah. Well, I want T-shirts made like that. Seriously, man.
I met it up.
Yeah, I met it up.
Hey, Max, boss the numbers look bad. I met it up.
Hey, boss asked you what's wrong. Sorry, boss. I met it up there. So if the playoffs were, well, actually, one more stat before we get on to some other news in the sports world. Swanson and Olsen are the first pair of Braves to homer in 3 straight games in a series. They are the second pair of Braves teammates to hit a home run in each game of a 3-game series. They join Eddie Matthews and Lee May, who did so against the Giants win way back in 1961. Great company to be in. And not only that, it happening like that, where Swanson does it and he just is on cruise control, it seems like, against the star pitching studs of the Mets. Crazy. But then Olsen accomplishes that same very feat 46 minutes later. That's a lot of fun. So a couple of things real quick before we do move on to the rest of the playoffs. So shapes, right? 5 points is a pentagon. If you see a shape and it's got 5 points on it, it's a pentagon. If it's got 6 points, it's a hexagon. This has been all over social media. This is not original by David. This is just something that is been circulating, and I figured I would share it with the listeners. An octagon has 8 sides. If you see a straight circle that's got a skyscraper logo in the background, it's got 4 letters, couple of baseball laces on it as well, 4 letters, and they scribe out the word Mets. That shape is called a division gone, and that's what the Mets have done. Also, the Braves like to have the freeze race against somebody from the crowd, and the opponent is normally given a huge head start, actually always given a huge head start, but then the freeze soon becomes a blur. This is from Mike Puma, who writes for the New York Post covering the Mets, and he says, so the freeze soon becomes a blur, easily makes up the ground, and wins, usually. That's your metaphor for what has occurred in the National League East. Let's get into the Major League Baseball playoffs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, and Apalachicola, and 102.1 in Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay. In the American League, the wild card round, you're going to have the 6th seed. At the time, they still got 3 games to play, but the Rays will be taking on the Guardians as of today. The Mariners will be taking on the Blue Jays. Couple of things to go with the Mariners because I find that so fascinating. They haven't made the playoffs since 2001. Fallen by Alicia Keys was the #1 song at that point in time. Shrek was released in theaters. Julio Rodriguez, the star for the Mariners now, I believe he's on the injured list, but he is the star there right now. Yeah. He's going to be back for the playoffs. He was 9 months old. Harry Potter was the #1 movie. The first version of the iPod was released. Click, 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 click. And Ichiro was a rookie on that 2001 team. So when you think about that, that is just absolutely amazing. Just got some breaking news here.
Breaking news.
Tony La Russa has decided to step down. He will not return in 2023 due to the health issues. Adam Goff texted me personally. He says, the Braves haven't been swept all year, I don't think. And I want to go with you on this. I don't believe that they have been swept this year, which makes it even that much harder, right, to take this team out in the first round of the play. Well, technically for the Braves, provided they win one more game in this last 3-game set, they will not be playing until the National League Division Series. And I'm going to do my hardest, or I'm going to do my best here to make sure that we have every single Atlanta Braves game on the radio. So, if we're missing some college football or some NFL football in lieu of the Braves playoffs, you just got to check that priority list, right? And what means a little bit more right now, we've got a little, we're a quarter way through the college football or the NFL season. We're approaching the halfway mark as far as record-wise goes for college football. So a lot more than we're going to be in December by the time that you know it. I hate so
this is like
much.
Peak sports right now. You
Yeah,
got the
we're
MLB
in
season winding down. Yeah,
it's Sportstober. I saw Phil
Basketball
James.
preseason. You see the Suns lost yesterday?
The Suns lost to an Australian team. Not only do they lose their owner, essentially, to this point, right? He's probably selling that team.
Yeah,
he's
I think
suspended,
he put him
right?
For sale, right? I'm pretty sure he's.
Yeah, so, and then to add
I think he owns the
insult to
Mercury team.
injury, which you better sell both of those, but to add insult to injury, you lose to a team out of Australia called the 36ers.
Yeah, I mean.
Were they finding gold in Australia in 36 or something? Do you know a little backstory? I don't know. The Adelaide 36ers. All right, we've got a lot more to go here on the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Max Delyden. Find out what happened to the coach of Wisconsin when we get back. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to be back in a couple of minutes. Y'all keep it locked in.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Hurricane Ian is impacting residents here in Florida right now, and we're collecting items people need immediately. Baby food, first aid, batteries, work gloves, over-the-counter medicine, diapers, toiletries, female products, and non-perishable food items like peanut butter that you don't have to cook. Items can be dropped off at our new offices on the beach, 204 Suite B, Ellen Lane. Hurricane Relief America is sponsored by Event Production, Blab TV, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Afternoon sunshine, a few scattered clouds, and the low 80s. A northeast wind about 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf, 83. Partly cloudy, 55 to 60 overnight with light winds. Low 80s, mostly sunny skies planned for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. It's our 50th anniversary celebration. You've trusted us for 50 years to bring you the largest selection at the lowest prices. And now we're going to save you even more with our 50th anniversary celebration. We're giving you 50% off certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings and diamond bands, and 50% off diamond bracelets and earrings. 50 years of putting a sparkle on Bay County, Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. And you can take that to the bank.
It's time to let the fall adventures begin in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Now offering 3.49% up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento. You can expand your horizons and write your next chapter with confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Sorento that has the perfect balance of comfort, safety, performance, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. We make buying a car easy and will give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Sorento with $22.36 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 10/31/22.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding shotgun with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to need some gas money. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Fill her up, please.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
All right, we are back. We are live. We're in the Rib Crib Radio Room on the beautiful first Monday of the best month of the year. I think I got sidetracked, but earlier Phil Yates, who does fantasy football for ESPN, was saying this is an elite month. I'm like, look, I love the word elite. I really do, but it is beyond elite.
It's
right?
elite weather here now, too.
We do have really good weather. First off, before we continue to go on, you are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're on ESPN Northwest Florida, and I am proud to have my man in the building with us. Boston Tim, what is going on?
Back with another one of those block rocking beats. Man, I'm just glad to be back in the building, hanging out with two of my good friends, man. A beautiful day, like you said. In one of the greatest months of the year, especially for sports. All 5 major sports playing in this month, if you include college football.
And we had
it is a major sport.
It definitely is. We were talking about the Suns losing to the Adelaide 36ers.
I'm so glad you brought it back up because, of course, I had to look it up. Anytime
and
I'm
I did,
curious about something, I look it up.
Good. Go ahead and share with us.
And you mentioned it about whether it had to do with the gold rush or something like that, and of course it didn't because they're from South Australia in the southern colony.
Yeah.
And they were proclaimed a colony in 1836.
Yep.
Hence,
December 28th, 1830. And actually, before that, their logo is still an eagle. So they were the Adelaide Eagles. Then they went over to the NBL and changed it. Yep. And they, see, look at us, man. It's like you've been here every Monday since you left, man. It has not skipped a beat. I love it, man. And your Phillies yesterday, or not your Phillies. Whoa, Caveman Rick, wrong guy. Patriots yesterday. How about that, though, for them to stick in? I know that we're going to go college football this segment, but real quick here, to be able to go to overtime with the Packers, with Bailey Zappi being the first rookie QB to throw a tutty.
To start with, even having our backup in, to start the game, it's still relatively disrespectful for Las Vegas to put up double digits against the Patriots at any point in time, no matter who you're playing against, especially considering the amount of points that either or both of these teams have put up to start the season. So for me, just to start there, I thought that was terrible. But I think we did a great job, and it's really hard for me to be the type of person that says, this is a good loss.
Yeah.
But for us, where we are in the growth of our team right now, this is a good loss.
Yeah.
And granted, I feel like Green Bay is not the Green Bay of the last couple of years. And even with the greatest quarterback, second greatest quarterback playing right now, probably the greatest that they've ever had, it's still just not going to do it when you don't have the players around you, right? And especially when you can tell very much so that he's just not as dedicated to his craft as he used to be.
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi is one of my favorite college football players of all time. I'm so happy he got a shot and that he looked decent.
Yeah.
Because I think Bill could work with him. I like the Mac Jones show, but I feel like you're really capped at a ceiling with him. And I would love to see Bailey Zappi just get a few more reps.
I was very excited to see the one thing at the very end, and that's when he took the bomb, right? And it went about 64 yards in the air. That's one of the things that I feel very confident about, right? And when you know that you have a great arm, that's a big thing in the NFL, right? Because just like Josh Allen when he came in, look at his first season, and then you look how he grew after that because he wanted to. He had an unbelievable arm, and of course, please don't think I'm comparing Josh Allen's arm to Zappi's arm by any means,
right?
Allen is
but development
one of a kind, but the development possibilities are there, right? He has the strength, he's got good accuracy. Now he just needs to be worked with. He's making good decisions, and now it's like I said, it's working with him, making sure he knows that playbook and making good decisions, and that's it. He's there.
And it's a totally different situation than Tom Brady's situation with Jimmy Garoppolo and other backup quarterbacks behind him. But I still have to ask the question, though. Does Bill utilize Bailey Zappi for the next few weeks, and then Mac Jones comes in, and the next thing you know, Bailey Zappi becomes a trade bait or a piece of bait for trade for another draft pick, or does he vie for that starting job?
Well, I don't think that it would be smart of any of us to think that Bill hasn't thought of both of those things, right?
Right.
He's planning for both. He's planning for every situation. And I think that he's, no matter what, is just going to play the best player. I don't think he's not the guy that's just going to put Mac Jones back in there and keep him going for a couple of weeks. If Zappi wins us 4 straight weeks, I don't think he would do that. It's not a smart decision because neither of those guys, even though Mac is returning, is really a locked-in player. Right?
Yeah.
So
it's good.
What perturbed me was I am nowhere near in the football intelligence level of the GOAT football coach, Bill Belichick.
Right. Are
and
any
this
of
is
us?
like the most hindsight couch guy take. But I wish on that 4th and 5 at the 46 they went for it. I know, like, you know, you never know what's going to happen, and it's more than likely not going to go in your favor. But it's worth the shot, I think, because giving Aaron Rodgers the ball twice in an overtime with the defense being a little worn down, like, I would have liked to see it, but, you know, it's a classic, like, oh, they made the field goal and lost the game. So,
yeah.
But I just wanted to see Bailey Zappi get, you know, beat Aaron Rodgers. It would have been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and who knows if we're even seeing Bailey Zappi without the injury that Hoyer had to sustain for that to happen. But at the end of the day, you know, Bill's got to feel very strong about, or feel very good about the fact that they can keep it moving in the direction that the Patriots seem fit.
Right, and I love. Oh, you want?
No, please.
I was just gonna say I love too how, you know, Bill is, you know, he's very short with the media, but he was saying yesterday, he's like,
to day.
Yeah. But he was saying, he's like, Bailey was making throws only Aaron Rodgers can make. And I think it's really cool that, you know, you're gassing up your third string quarterback like that and giving him some confidence.
Yeah, because he didn't even gas up Brady like that.
And that's just typically not his thing.
No.
Right? But maybe, and it's an issue that I think a lot of the Patriots fans have been looking at is, you know, is Bill going to grow now that Brady's gone? And maybe that's a moment that we're seeing that he's growing.
Boston Tim, have you got Coach Belichick on the hashtag train grow with me?
I mean, come on, Bill.
Come on, Bill. I love it. A couple of other news around the football world. Wisconsin firing their football coach, Paul Chryst. They're naming their defensive coordinator, Jim Leonard, the interim coach. Paul Chryst finishes with a 67-26 record in 7+ seasons at Wisconsin, where he also went to school. According to the contract, Wisconsin will owe him $16.4 million if he was fired without cause. But the athletic director, Chris McIntosh, said the buyout will be significantly less than the numbers that have been reported. I don't have any other information on that, but we'll see how that plays out. I'm wondering now, are coaches intentionally dropping games to just get the money and see what else is out there?
Man, this is a tough one because I think Paul Chryst is a good football coach, but you know, Wisconsin's definitely not been the Wisconsin we've known for the past decade, past few years. And part of that's Graham Mertz's fault. Part of that is on Paul Chryst, though. He's lost 3 times in the past 5 years as a 17-point favorite or more. And the worst one being...
One of those Wazoo, right?
Well, yeah, Wazoo this year. Illinois when they were 30-point favorites about 3 or 4 years ago.
And then you lose again Saturday.
And then, losing. You can't be losing to Illinois at Camp Randall. I got a video from one of my buddies. They were playing jump around down 21 after the third quarter.
That was unbelievable. I saw that this morning.
That's one of the saddest things, seeing just Orange Illini fans jumping around at
Were
Camp
there
Randall.
Wisconsin Badger fans jumping around at that point in time?
I think a few, sorority girls who had 2 beverages. But it wasn't a
Like
happy
people-
sight. I was getting some videos. It was kind of funny and eerie at the same time because that's a tradition. That registers on like the magnitude scale when people jump. They've had to reinforce the cement beams there. And it's a big, big thing.
Right.
Kind of like, singing Dixieland Delight at
Yeah,
Bama.
no, 100%. But I mean, if you're in the,
But pain in that particular instance, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You're down 21.
That's what I'm saying. You're right. Like, why jump around? I think they sit on down. Like, they should have played it like that.
Get those guys jumping at practice more so they're feeling a little more aggressive. Maybe their stamina's there for
Golly.
the game. They weren't there.
I feel bad for Wisconsin fans having to go through this when you came in with that idea of, hey, just like every year, we're going to have a vaunted defense. Who knows what our offense will be like, but the defense will be good. And then, Wazoo beats you. Then Wisconsin or Ohio State puts up 52 on you. And then the Illini just absolutely whoop you. Not very good.
Baby.
Yeah, they gave y'all the L in Illinois for sure. A fan has passed away after a fall from an escalator inside Acrisure Stadium, the new stadium name for the Steelers. It's
terrible.
Terrible. And there's still an investigation ongoing and stuff, and it's just one of those situations that is that even preventable? I know that it is to a degree, but if people aren't using the equipment the right way, and let's say that the equipment wasn't faulty, then that's a whole nother situation on its own.
Yeah, where negligence lies really is what the difference is going to be in if there ends up being some type of settlement or case. And I hate to be that guy, but having been to the stadium multiple times, chances are, the guy had too many beverages. I don't want to speculate.
Yeah.
But chances are, you lean back and you fall. They can only have so many preventative measures in a place, assuming that everybody there is going to just simply do the right thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, non-mechanical malfunction. It's simply you doing something poorly, making a bad choice. They can't really do much about it. I mean, what are they going to put a drop net there possibly now at this point? I think they're going to have to do something, but there was no reason for them to have thought of that before.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, echo Tim too. I mean, unless there's like security camera footage, I don't really, want to comment on what happened. But I think he's right. Like it's a matter of what happened, and was the person acting negligently, or was it actually? Because like stadiums have to pass certain codes and stuff. So I mean, I guess it's in the details. I don't know.
Absolutely.
100%. We did get a text in from Mike McMullen who said, yeah, but they promoted the Wisconsin defensive coordinator. So that is, maybe they're wanting an influx of defense at that point. From what I have noticed now, and this is not, point blank period, but it seems to me when teams have, outside of maybe Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, right? Maybe it works better in the collegiate side of things than the professional thing. But you're looking at Dennis Allen right now with the Saints in the NFL. Brent Venables over at Oklahoma. Yeah. Like I'm wondering, is the defensive-minded head coach a thing of the past almost at this point? Sports are cyclical, right? So it's gonna happen. It's gonna go around about the right way. But what's your guys' thoughts on that before we get out of here and talk with RJ Starcevich?
Yeah, Leonard's a really well-respected coach. I know in the Big Ten too, and Wisconsin kind of has the same thing for me as like the St. Louis Cardinals, where they always have this black magic that something works out over time. And,
like the Vikings when they play the Saints.
Yeah, and Leonard was getting calls for some head coaching jobs in the NFL too, because he's a really good coach. And I think most of it just falls on Paul Chryst, because he's actually been terrible at recruiting. He's recruiting like the 12th best class in the Big Ten, which should never happen for Wisconsin football. And if they do the same thing for basketball, where they always hire internally at Wisconsin. But I don't think it would be a crazy thing for them to consider going after your guy over at Bama, Bill O'Brien.
Have him, please. Nothing against
his first good game.
Nothing against Bill O'Brien. In all reality, I'm not a coordinator, but at the same time, sometimes it just seems bland to me. In my opinion, is irrelevant, right? Nick Saban's running that show over there.
Right, and I just don't know that necessarily he'd want to make a move like that, even though it would be moving into a head coaching position. I still feel as if for him it's almost a lateral move.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he'd necessarily make that. I do like you said though, the fact that it's defenses come and go, defensive coaching and things like that, but it's always there, right? It's always going to be around, and I think that right now, the last couple of years, 4 or 5 years, adapting to the aggressive offenses that we're seeing. Has really been tough for all defensive coordinators, and I think that once they do figure things out and get back on the ball with the rest of the offensive movement, I think defense is going to come right back around. I think it's very, very big, and I think that someone like Leonard could do that for Wisconsin.
And before we cut off, too, this is a tweet I saw by one of their beat writers, and this is kind of to give you an idea of how they have like that rabid fan base, kind of like Nebraska, where it's like we think we are the best team in the country every year. Mm-hmm. Their top beat writer tweeted, "I'm not saying Wisconsin can steal Nick Saban away from Alabama, but given our great academics and outstanding campus, we should at least call to gauge his interest. He'll probably say no, but have to at least pick up the phone and call at Badger football." And the first reply on my Twitter feed was, "Rocky Top fan. Ha 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 ha, you idiot."
I'll tell you what, I think before that that Nick Saban would say, I think he's got a 4-letter word. I don't know which 4-letter word he's going to use there, but I imagine it's going to be expletive no at that point in time. You guys are listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, ESPN Northwest Florida in general, and we are with Hurricane Relief America. Want to remind listeners in Northwest Florida and South Alabama to be prepared. Hurricane Ian's already impacting residents down in Southwest Florida, and we know firsthand how terrible, how helpless you feel in those situations, and that's why us here in Panama City in Northwest Florida, Lower Alabama, should be ready to donate. We're looking for non-perishable food items like peanut butter and items that don't need to be cooked, bottled water, batteries, socks, man, all kind of stuff. We're taking it all at 204 Suite B, Ellen Lane. The zip code is 32408. Hurricane Relief America is brought to you by Event Production, Blab TV, and ESPN Northwest Florida. Coming up next, we're going to go around the track with RJ Starcevich.
It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the street.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Hey everyone, Chef Ross here. Join me for our first annual Pop's Pig Pickin' Charity Barbecue, benefiting Food for Kids, in honor of my dad, Pops Ronald Robinson. Enjoy mouth-watering barbecue, mystery drink specials, and a 50-50 raffle. Pop's Pig Pickin' Charity Barbecue, October 30th, 2 p.m. at the Break Room, 2727 Joan Avenue. For more information, visit the Pop's Pig Pickin' Charity Barbecue event page on Facebook. Sponsored by Team MVP, the Break Room Sports Bar, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Game days are always better at Dave & Buster's. That's because more TV inches, more food and drinks, more space, and more fun make the game we all know and love more special. Nothing beats seeing your favorite team take the field on the two 12-foot big screens or 26 75-inch TVs. Throw in the arcade experience and you've got a winning atmosphere that no other sports bar can deliver. Follow the fun at Dave & Buster's Panama City Beach on Facebook and Instagram. Eat, drink, play, and watch sports at Dave & Buster's.
That boot store reminds you, football weather means colder weather can't be far off. Now's a great time to shop for those winter work coats, shirts, and shoes. Janice and Irene, along with the staff, welcome you to stop by and shop for the whole family at that boot store. Remember Joe's motto, always put Jesus first in your life. Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 on Friday and Saturday. That boot store. Next to Bill Bird Kia on 15th Street, Panama City. When it comes to moving your most valuable possessions, make sure you make the right choice for a smooth, hassle-free experience. Call the best Smooth Moves of Northwest Florida. They are licensed and insured. They perform full-service residential and commercial moving services, packing and unpacking, and even furniture arrangement. Smooth Moves of Northwest Florida has the lowest hourly rates in the area. Whether you're moving across town or across the country, they can handle it. Smooth Moves of Northwest Florida. Veteran-owned and operated.
Call 850-319-8925.
Join the First Federal Bank family, celebrating 60 years of growth and a vision for the future. First Federal Bank is a full-service community bank offering personal and business banking with a branch conveniently located in Panama City. First Federal Bank is also available online, by telephone, and through mobile banking. First Federal Bank is ready to help with home loans, SBA and USDA lending, commercial, and business loans. First Federal Bank is an equal housing lender.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. The mission.
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, and Apalachicola, and 102.1 in Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay. You guys keep it locked in here to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to be giving you a chance to get away for the SEC Championship game. I'm David Hayes along with Max DeLayden, Boston 10. We're going to go around the track with RJ Starcevich. Now, RJ, he is the host, the owner and founder of NASCAR Report on Instagram, host of Off the Record, and a contributor for @TobyChristyCom. Follow them on Twitter @TobyChristyCom. RJ, what's going on, man?
Going good, man. How about y'all?
Fantastic. Enjoying some beautiful weather here up in the Panhandle. Now, how did Hurricane Ian affect you guys down there in Tampa?
Yeah, down in Tampa, I mean, the whole time it was supposed to give us a direct hit. And it's almost been like that with hurricanes in the past, I'm sure, as you guys know, watching, the weather and on the TV and everything. And then it took took an abrupt turn south. Fortunately for us, unfortunately for the people below us, they got hit pretty hard. But as far as Tampa, in my area, we barely got any wind. We barely got any rain. It was just a bunch of wind. So the next morning it was dry. But, there was some tree debris all over and stuff like that. But thankfully we got pretty lucky. How about you guys?
We're northwest, so we really didn't experience anything outside of really cold weather. So the weather was beautiful, but with us going through this just 3 years ago with Hurricane Michael, a lot of our hearts and minds and thoughts were with the people of Southwest Florida. In fact, I don't remember which hurricane it was. I think it was actually a tropical storm, but I was playing football. I used to live down in St. Pete for 7-8 years when I was growing up, and I was playing football for Dixie Hollins, not the high school, but the like recreational youth football. And so we had that hurricane that morning, or tropical storm, whichever one it was, and a light pole fell on the field in the middle of the football game. And so they canceled the game, and we just went home and started throwing the rock around in the backyard.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
All right, so let's get into this last week, man. We're getting to the grind of the end of the season here, and finally a playoff driver gets a win, and a big one at that, at Talladega. Give us a recap of the win from Chase Elliott.
Yeah, man. Like you said, finally a guy in the playoffs gets a win at the track that is usually penciled as the most unpredictable race of the playoffs, and it was probably the most calmest race of the playoffs. No big crashes. I believe the 30, 34, the 38 cars at the end of the race were running. So, it was a great sight to see, clean cars, and still a lot of action during the race. Tons of lead changes, tons of battles going on, and you get a photo finish right at the end with Chase Elliott making the move on his good buddy Ryan Blaney. But yeah, like you noted, first time somebody in the playoffs actually does get a win. Chase Elliott's now moved on to the next round. They had even more heartbreak for Ryan Blaney, unfortunately. I know we talked about him last week, but he's in basically the second best spot to make it in the next round. So I think he's in a good spot. But man, yeah, crazy race. Not crazy in the point of we tore up a lot of cars, but crazy and lots of lead changes and battles going on. But yeah, like you said, Chase Elliott got the win.
Yeah, and looking at the point standings, I don't have them here in front of me, but when I was looking earlier, it looked like Chase Elliott, in a sense, with only 5 races to go, is running away with this thing. Do you consider Chase Elliott to be the favorite to win this whole thing, or there's going to be some snafus along the way?
I do, for sure. I know going into the playoffs, he's got obviously a hefty amount of playoff points, right? He's already locked in the next round. He's already got another win under his belt. That's another 5 playoff points. So going into the next round, he's going to have a huge playoff cushion. There's still a way that he could not advance to the final round. It would have to take, a drastic 3 races for him not to be able to. But I definitely think Chase Elliott has kind of clear-cut himself as the favorite. Kyle Larson's always the guy that we look at right behind him. Same with Ryan Blaney. But those 2 guys are definitely going to have to show something if they make it to this final round, which I think they both will. But definitely, like you said, I think Chase Elliott is the clear-cut championship favorite at the moment.
Hey, RJ, it's Max. I'm kind of a novice to racing, and I had a question a little related to it. I was wondering, what do you like more about NASCAR that puts it over the edge compared to, like, F1 for you?
For me, I think, I think it would just be the competitiveness of the series that we have, and all 3 of them. We could talk about Cup Series, Xfinity, Truck. F1 is definitely a series that's on a global scale. Right. So, each country, it feels like a big event, when they go to each country. And I do love that about F1. I still do love the races and the strategy and everything like that. But, what definitely grew me into being a NASCAR fan is just, obviously you got your home tracks that you go to as a kid, and then you kind of get seasoned into being a NASCAR fan. But I definitely love the competitiveness of racing, the stock cars, being able to beat and bang in races. And, especially now the diversity of the racetracks that we go to. Ovals, road courses, dirt tracks, street courses, racing in the rain. It's crazy. It's a lot to think of compared to where NASCAR was like 20 years ago. But all of that, I think really definitely separates NASCAR and stock car racing kind of as a whole as a very, very unique sport.
Cool.
Well, RJ, again, this is Boston T. Thanks again for joining us here and always helping with the NASCAR section. We greatly appreciate it. Before I jump back and discuss Elliott and what we're doing next week in Bank of America, I wanted to ask you, and I know that you're a fan of all the series of racing like we talked about, if you had seen the horrific crash that happened on Saturday night. We had to have the Helivac come in, and they took Jordan Anderson away. Very fiery, big crash. Relatively surprising that he only walked away with second-degree burns and capable the very next day of getting there, online and tweeting to us and thanking everybody for their prayers and things like that. Can we just briefly talk about how unbelievable NASCAR has been in really making sure that the advancements and protection protocols are there for these drivers?
Yeah, it's insane, man. Like watching that crash live, from home was super scary. And if you're someone that's been able to watch that and see it, whether it was on Twitter, because I think it was pretty well put out there because it was a scary wreck. I mean, that car was on fire as he was going, right, 180 plus miles per hour. Slows it down. He's getting out of that truck as the truck is moving, as it hits the wall. Thankfully it wasn't any worse, but I mean, an unbelievable, way. Just to be able to suffer, minor burning is what he's had in a truck that was completely on fire. Obviously, he was on fire. Jumps out of the truck as it's moving. I mean, I'm thankful to be able to have talked to Jordan sometimes at the racetrack, and he's obviously just a really well-respected guy in the garage area, so everybody was praying for him. And wow, yeah, like you said, I mean, the advancements of the safety of race cars, I mean, who knows what the injuries and what the consequences would have been for somebody if that would have happened, 15, 20 years ago. And thankfully, even in the truck series, right, which a lot of people consider to be kind of like the third tier series in NASCAR, right, all the race cars that are put out there, have these, incredible safety measures to make sure to keep the drivers safe. So like you said, it was just an incredible sight to see that he's been able to, walk away from the truck, jump out of the truck, and now, being able to where I think hopefully, he'll be at the track next week once again as a driver and a team owner.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable what NASCAR does. They're just constantly, literally week after week, whether we're in season or not, they're constantly working on advancing things for the safety of the not only the drivers, but also the fans. And I just love that about NASCAR. And now I wanted to jump into next week real quick. We're over to Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we've got the road course, and we know Elliott just got this win. He's already got the high. We know he's the best road course driver that there is right now currently driving. He's third all-time in the rankings in road course wins with 7, only behind Stewart and Gordon, who have 8 and 9. What do you think his chances are of getting up into second place, tying Stewart with the 8th win next week in Charlotte? Or do you think there's a possibility that somebody else might be able to snag it away from him?
I think it's very high. I mean, there's obviously, as we've seen this year, a big possibility of someone else being able to get that win. But if you were to look at somebody that has an advantage, a guy that's won at this racetrack so many times, and now doesn't have to race with, on the edge, thinking about his points, whether he's going to make the next round or not. He's already won. He's the only guy that has locked himself in the next round. So I think they can just play it relaxed, and they can play a strategy as well as the race goes on with the stages. He doesn't have to go for those points. He can go for a playoff point if he's leading the race and wants to win a stage, which is also very important as far as, the championship race goes. But he can just kind of play it relaxed, and they can just go for the win to go for another 5 playoff points for the next round. So I think, like you said, if there's anyone that definitely has a big, vast advantage going into this race, I would say it's Chase Elliott for sure.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line with RJ Starcevich. Give us an update in the Xfinity Series. Allmendinger getting it done with a photo finish in Talladega. Give us an update on the playoffs happening in the Xfinity Series, RJ.
Yeah, very tight, very tight. And, what was great to see as well is Xfinity at Talladega. Really clean race, just like the Cup Series race. I mean, there was not even one big crash. All 38 cars in that race were running at the end, which is just insane for Talladega, especially since last time Xfinity went to a super speedway, we only finished with 5 cars on the racetrack. So having all 38 finishes is a great sight to see. But yeah, playoffs are really, really tight. You got some guys like Brandon Jones, who Riley Herbst, who we all thought would be, championship contenders, are kind of right on that bubble, under the bubble right now. Daniel Hemrick, the defending champion, is just a few points below. So it's going to be crazy. We know Noah Gragson and A.J. Allmendinger are locked in. Like we talked about last week, that Noah Gragson streak, unfortunately, comes to an end. He had 4 straight Xfinity wins, but he's locked in, AJ's locked in, and same thing like we just talked about with Chase Elliott. I feel like with Allmendinger locking himself in the next round, he's, one of the clear-cut favorites to win a race like the Charlotte Roval road course. You can just kind of play it relaxed, and you can go for the win and try to get those extra 5 playoff points. But Xfinity race and the Cup race, both cutoff races are going to be crazy. You're going to see a lot of people doing different strategies to try to get points, to try to go for the win. It's going to be really interesting to see. And I think that Charlotte Roval track is just always it always produces some insane race, just the way it is. I mean, it's a road course inside of a 1.5 mile racetrack, so it's always pretty fun to watch.
RJ, man, it's been so great having you on with us. We've only got, 5 races left here before the end of the season?
Yeah, 5 races left in both series, Xfinity and Cup. So the countdown is on, and we're getting right to the end.
Excited to have you on with us. Thanks so much for your time again, RJ, and we look forward to chatting with you next Monday at 4:30.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to chatting with you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. That was RJ Starcevich. Man, guys, if you're a NASCAR fan, if you're an F1 fan or Indy fan, he already told you. He's a racing fan. He keeps up with it all, but he's also the owner and founder of NASCAR Report. That's on Instagram. Just type in NASCAR Report. RJ Starcevich will come up. He's also the host of Off the Record, and he's a contributor for @TobyChristie.com. Follow them on Twitter. We've got trivia coming up. Which former MAC school has the most appearances in the AP Top 25 poll with 49 of them? Give us a call, 850-215-5006. You do have to enter the area code when you call. ESPN Northwest Florida with the most touchdowns on the Gulf Coast. And tonight, Monday Night Football, we're talking Rams, 49ers. Coverage starting at 6:30 right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Back with Max's prediction on Monday Night Football when we get back.
Bigger and better than ever. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has your chance to win a trip of a lifetime again. We just sent Ron to see the Atlanta Braves at beautiful Truist Park.
Thank you so much.
Next, we're sending you to the SEC Championship game.
It's an awesome experience.
Saturday, December 3rd at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the ATL. For more details, keep listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
Let's face it, nobody wants to deal with the hassle of replacing or repairing a roof. At Extreme Roofing and Construction, they help you avoid the headache so you can enjoy your roof stress-free. Extreme Roofing and Construction works with your HOA for approvals, permits, and even helps with insurance to get your roof repaired within 2 weeks. For over 20 years, Extreme Roofing and Construction has helped residential and commercial clients resolve their roofing needs quickly and efficiently. For more info or to book an appointment, visit ExtremeRoofingPros.com. License number CGC 1511861-CCC132912.
Hi, it's Coach James Hale. Keeping your car looking great is easy as 1, 2, 3 at Blue Sky Express Car Wash. By joining their monthly wash club, you'll get the best bang for your buck. And just 2 car washes, your monthly membership pays for itself. Don't miss the summer deal where all your monthly memberships are 50% off on your first month, starting at $9.99 a month. Become a member today at Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road, right next to Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
What's that grin about?
I just took a load off my staff by hiring Fresh Start Cleaning Services.
How'd you manage that?
You know, Fresh Start Cleaning Services allows our team to leave at the end of their shift and not have to stay and clean after a double. They're happy, and you should see the difference having a professional cleaner makes. Plus, I know exactly how much the cleaning costs will be for the entire year.
Wow, that would make anyone smile.
Yes, and you can call Fresh Start Cleaning Services, 850-771-6057.
The #1 SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. We are live. We are local. We are in the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, and Apalachicola, and 102.1 in Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay. I'm David Hayes along with Boston Tim and Max Delight. We've got Mr. Stroud on the line with us. Big War Eagle fan. He wants to play some trivia. Which former MAC school has the most appearances in the AP Top 25 poll with 49 of those said appearances? What you got, Keith?
Man, I have honestly no idea, but I figure I'll throw. Would Marshall qualify?
Oh, I think Marshall would qualify, but they are not the correct qualification that we're looking for this particular answer.
Got it.
Hey, but
right,
real quick before we let you go now, what did you think of your Tigers against the Tigers in if you don't want to talk about it, we don't got to talk about it.
Why you got to do it to him
Well,
like this?
for me, it really comes down to that second and goal trick play. Like, why in the world did that guy throw the ball?
So, man, they have, an analyst on staff, and I heard the announcers make mention of that 2 or 3 times. They'll go for it, on 4th and short, with, between the 40s, and just different things that somebody who's smarter than I am knows what you should do. I don't know who makes the call to take the football out of the quarterback's hands when you're going to run a passing play, but apparently there's somebody somewhere that knows something more than I do that says, hey, let's let a receiver who hasn't thrown it all year throw it when the game's on the line. And they placed that call, man, and I was just like, you have got to be kidding me, man. It was brutal. It was tough, man. I don't remember the last time I've watched us get out to a 17-0 lead to lose 21-17, or just to get shut out completely for the rest of the game, man. It hurt.
Looked like the daggum Titans and the Packers in the second half, but without coming away with the win. But
I will say this: out of everything that happened, though, at least I see some promise in Robbie Ashford, man. That kid, that young dude, man, he came to play, and he played well. I mean, he had one absolute freak run him down and knock his hand out of the ball. By the way, did you see this kid, the defensive end for LSU? I can't even pronounce his name, but he is like on a whole nother level. Like, he was covering a wide receiver at one point in the game. Like, he was unbelievable. He was really good, man. LSU was talented. LSU was LSU, like they always are. They outclass you, athlete per athlete on the field always, and they got it done, man. They're just slowly but surely 3-1, 4-1.
Yeah, I believe 4-1 at this point. Week 5, they could be sitting at 3. I think they're sitting at 4-1 though, because they had to win against New Mexico last week. They won that one 38-0. So I think that they're sitting here at 4-1. But that was definitely a tough loss for the Auburn Tigers. We are coming up against a break, Keith. So thanks so much for calling in, man. And we need to get you back in here for Fan Friday.
Sounds good. Take it easy, David Hayes.
All right, my man. All right, that's Keith Stroud, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite Auburn fans in the world. Always keeps it real. If we had time, we'd talk a little bit more about Coach Harsin and what he expects with that situation. Monday Night Football is tonight, and we have the coverage going at 6:30. It's going to be the Rams 49ers. What are you thinking takes place in that ball game tonight, Max? Me and Boston 10 will be talking about this later on at 5:30 or 5:45.
Man, I was just reflecting. I've been so bad in college football the past couple weeks on this show.
It's tough, man. College football is, we were supposed to get to the picks, but obviously we haven't even got to my first dent in college football today.
We'll get to it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. I got you back tomorrow. That's cool.
I'm going to take my guy, Jimmy G. When it's Shanahan, I sound a little Chicago there. My guy. Yeah. When it's Shanahan and McVay, it's just a fun game to watch because they're two of the best coaches in the league, in my opinion. McVay probably being a little above Shanahan with intelligence. But I think it'll be 23-17 Niners. I know the Niners, I think, are 1.5-point favorites, but I like Jimmy G to show up here.
I actually like that because I was listening to Colin Cowherd today, and he said he was thinking low scoring, like a 23-20 somewhat game. I think he was going in the Rams' direction in that one, but I'm still on the fence, right? And Boston Tim knows we're in a NFL pick'em together, and these picks are starting to get lethal. I mean, Coach Olds is out there killing it in the pick game. I think he might have dropped a little this last week because, you know, he does a real good job of picking those particular upsets, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then you as on the opposite side of that, you got to try to combat that.
And you and I have a little matchup going on too, where I need Matt Stafford to get me at least 11 points in the Niners.
Yeah, well, you got the Niners defense.
Yeah, but it's
you
one
got
of
me
those
by
ones,
10 right here, so.
I know you say, you know, everyone gets injured or whatever, but like, man, you had one of the hottest quarterbacks and Tua going down, so like this feels like such a phony win if I win. I don't. Doesn't feel good.
Here's my, and I really do got to get out of here, but here's my argument against that, right, is that if you look at it, all 3 weeks outside of week 2, right, he's really been pedestrian as far as fantasy scoring. Now, his fantasy points do not determine wins and losses, but as far as that goes, it's been 11, 12. To be honest, when I was putting Tua in as the starting quarterback, when I was putting Tua in as the starting quarterback, I knew the risks. You know what I mean? There wasn't even assumptions. I knew the risks that were coming along with that. But my other problem is my other quarterback's Derek Carr. Yeah. Well, which direction do I go to try to get 16 points? Right. It's not happening with those guys. So what am I supposed to do? I got to make a trade. That's what's got to happen.
We're in similar conundrums because I got Stafford and Dak. So it's not
but, you know, Dak could come back. But Stafford, I think, you know, the lack of OBJ, the lack of anything other than Cooper Kupp, right? Yeah. Everyone knows where the ball's going to. It's going to Cooper Kupp. And that really slims your chances down, especially when you don't have the running back being elite. It doesn't slow your chances down?
No, typically it would.
Yeah.
But obviously it hasn't with them.
Yeah, oh, you're right. I will give you that.
I would say you're right in any other situation, but until it actually does happen,
I'd
have
but
to
Cooper's still getting all of the points and love like from the wide receiver position, but I think that it's taking a toll on the touchdown realm of Matthew Stafford, if that makes sense.
I agree with that.
All right, I have taken us way too long here. We're going to take a break. You guys keep with us right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Max is out. He'll be back with us tomorrow. Derek Tate, NFL staff writer for The Athletic, is up next.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for the NFL. Listen to the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity. Thursday night football. Double and triple headers on Sundays. And Monday night football. The NFL and ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored locally by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards.
Afternoon sunshine, a few scattered clouds, and the low 80s. A northeast wind about 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf, 83. Partly cloudy, 55 to 60 overnight with light winds. Low 80s, mostly sunny skies planned for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Dat Cajun Place is the place to watch all college and NFL games. Don't miss a game with their 27 TVs and the NFL Sunday Ticket. It's 75-cent wings and $5 pitchers during live football games. Dat Cajun Place is LSU and Saints football headquarters. Daily specials starting at just $10.99. Happy hour 4 till 7 daily. $1 draft beer and $3 wells. Dat Cajun Place, 2705 Thomas Drive, Panama City Beach.
It's time to let the fall adventures begin in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Now offering 3.49% up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento. You can expand your horizons and write your next chapter with confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Sorento. that has the perfect balance of comfort, safety, performance, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. We make buying a car easy and will give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Sorento with $22.36 per month per $1,000 financed in 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 10/31/22.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida. Live from the Rib Crib Studio. Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. 850-215-6290.
Always be sure to listen for the dial tone.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What is going on, Northwest Florida? This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, and Apalachicola, 102.1 in Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay. We are giving you your chance to win a SEC championship getaway. Now, on the line with us is Derek Tate. He's an NFL staff writer for The Athletic and a great friend of the show. Derek, my man, what is going on this beautiful Monday afternoon?
I don't know, man. Did I just dream last night that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got blown off their own home field? Or was that just a nightmare? Did they play tonight? I don't know, man. I'm doing all right, though, all things considered.
I don't think it was a dream. I would categorize it as a nightmare if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. But then at that same, the flip side of the coin, if you will, Tom Brady had a heck of a game. So if you're a Tom Brady fan, it's like, what in the world happened with is it the rushing attack? Is it that top 5 defense going into it that, statistically was in the top 5, but then they, kind of fell flat on the game. But then when you fell flat in the game, and then when you only run the ball 6 times, that could be problematic as well. But the numbers from Tom Brady does not imply that he's slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, you see that final scoreboard, right? 41-31. Brady throws for 385 and 3 tutties. Yeah, it looks like a nice day at the office, right? Well, yeah, until you look a little bit closer. Look harder, as Rafiki would say from Lion King. It all starts and ends with that baby-faced assassin wearing a number 15 jersey for the Kansas City Chiefs. And look, I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to tell Chris Collinsworth that he almost owed me a new television last night because I was prepared to uppercut my TV when he said, "Oh, it looks like the dad playing football with all the kids and they can't get him on the ground." And as a dad who regularly lets my daughter tackle me when she decides to chase me down, I resent that analysis. All jokes aside, Mahomes clearly remembered that embarrassing performance in the Super Bowl against the Bucs in that stadium. And he wanted to go out there and make a statement that there's a new sheriff in town. And, well, last night it certainly looked like that was the case.
Now, here's a guy that's a lot older than all the other guys. Derek, so give me Tater's team of the week before we dive a little bit deeper into that Chiefs-Bucs game, the rematch from Super Bowl 55. Who was your team of the week from Sunday's performances, or you can even reach back to the Thursday performance from the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I'm going with a team that played on Sunday, and I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. Look, you fall behind by 17 points on the road against a quality team like the Baltimore Ravens. And look, it kind of showed me a bit of dog and grittiness, toughness that you kind of expect from a team that's getting, showered with all of these championship aspirations. And, we haven't really seen Josh Allen and the Bills in particular kind of come through in close games in that magnitude. So to see them rise to the occasion, keep battling it out, and not to mention shut out Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens at home in the second half, you got to tip your hat to the Buffalo Bills.
I love that as well. So also give me your take on MVP. Now, we've only played 4 weeks here, but give me your opinion on not who's going to be the MVP at the end of the season, but rather who has been the most valuable player through the first 4 weeks.
I want you to hear me out here a little bit on this one. Saquon Barkley.
Ooh.
And I'm not going to say that the numbers look great, right? I mean, he's clearly back to form. His efficiency is back. His pop is back. His burst is back. But the New York Giants are 3-1, man. And you cannot tell me that team would have a single win on the football season if Saquon Barkley was not on the roster. And I know that I'm kind of stretching it here a little bit with MVP, most valuable player, but if you're asking me who is the most valuable player on to his team's organization and to their success so far this season, I certainly think that you can make an argument that the running back for the New York Giants, Saquon Barkley, is the guy that could be the guy who could be the first month of the season MVP winner.
Well, Derek Tate, thank you very much again for joining us here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Boston T. I wanted to jump over to the Eagles, 4-0. Our buddy Caveman, a huge Eagles fan. So while I have you here, if I could quickly get your thoughts on them being the last undefeated team. Is there something that jumped out to you about them in this last game that got that victory over the Jaguars? And also, I would like to know what your thoughts are on the Jaguars. Are they real or are they not?
Well, I'll start with the Eagles, right? And another guy that's certainly worth MVP consideration is Jalen Hurts. The reason why I'm not going with Jalen Hurts, though, is strictly because that roster from top to bottom looks scary good for the Philadelphia Eagles. But that is another team that I considered, being the team of the week, right? Because they fell behind 14-0 immediately to a Jacksonville team that has been riding high off of a two-game winning streak. And all of a sudden, you just kind of look and they're up 14-0 in the blink of an eye through the first quarter. And Doug Peterson playing against his former team, well, it didn't really matter because the Philadelphia Eagles faced adversity for the first time in this 2022 NFL season, and they responded by scoring 29 unanswered points and turning over Trevor Lawrence 5 times. That's insane in and of itself, or turning over the Jags 5 times. Jacksonville, I do believe that they have something there. It's just hard to really get a grade on them because they kind of reverted back to that team that they've been over the last couple of seasons in the final 3 quarters of that contest against the Philadelphia Eagles. But make no mistake, the Eagles beat a team that had been playing really good football, and they did it. And they can beat you in so many ways. I mean, they got the weapons on the outside. Yesterday we saw a monster game from Miles Sanders. They've got such a very talented unit up front along that offensive line and a bunch of players that can make plays, including Hassan Reddick on the defensive side of the football. They've got a little bit of everything, and I think that they're a real contender in the NFC.
You talk about reverting back to the old. I'd like to discuss quickly, if you don't mind, Boston College's own Matt Ryan. Even though he put up 400 yards in the air, the Colts didn't do anything in the second half to stop to be able to beat the Titans, who didn't score in the second half. Is Matt's time up, or is he reverting to his old ways, or is it the revolving door of QBs that just can't seem to get any chemistry going in Indianapolis?
Do you guys have a panic button handy somewhere there in the studio?
No red buttons.
If you're a Colts fan, it's time to push that button. Somebody push the button, please, for that. There we go. Thank you very much. Right on cue. No, so, when it comes to Matt Ryan, I don't care how many yards he's thrown for, and this team's identity heading into the season, if you thought that the Indianapolis Colts were going to be a contender in the AFC and certainly a contender to at least take their own division away from the Tennessee Titans, you expected it to be through Jonathan Taylor imposing their will up front and then Matt Ryan contributing in with being able to make timely throws and not make mistakes to put his team behind the 8 ball. And that really hasn't been the case through the first month of the season. Yeah, they got away with one against Kansas City, but really Kansas City kind of gave them that one. If I'm the Indianapolis Colts, I'm really concerned across the board. Everybody, all hands on deck. This is not a drill. It is time to really get things buttoned up there. Otherwise, that seat must be getting pretty warm for Frank Reich, Matt Ryan, and everybody that isn't named Quentin Nelson or Jonathan Taylor on that roster.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're chatting with Derek Tate, NFL staff writer for The Athletic, great friend of the show as well. 93 points in a game where the teams that I'm going to mention do not, put off the vibe that they're going to score 93 total points in a game. But the Seahawks-Lions game, what did you take away from that game? Lions have 2 of those 3-point losses this year, especially at the house. But what did you take away from that game specifically?
The Detroit Lions are the most entertaining losing team of the 2022 NFL season. It's must-see TV because this team just seems to – they've got so much fight in them, and they're so fun to watch. I love Dan Campbell. I love that he's got this team so bought in. They literally play from the opening whistle all the way till it reads 0-0-0 on the scoreboard. They keep fighting, and I love it. And the fact that they were shorthanded with DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown, both unavailable, I got to tip my hat to Jared Goff, who had a heck of a game. The problem is, those 2 players being out had nothing to do with giving up 48 points to the Seattle Seahawks. And Geno Smith, are you kidding me? What in the world at home? I don't know what to make of it. Would you have even felt comfortable saying that the Seahawks would put up 48 points through the first 4 games of the season heading into the year? No, not me anyway. I'm sorry about the rant, but it's just like the Detroit Lions, every time you want to believe in them, they find ways to just, make mental errors that put them behind the 8 ball, and you end up, losing 3-point games here, 4-point games there, and you're looking at a 1-3 football team that, in a different world could be 3-1. But that's kind of the culture there in Detroit, and it's going to continue to be the case until they find a way to show up on all 3 facets of the football game on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, the Lion are that temptation that really tests your faith, isn't it? Boston Hill, what you got?
Yeah, Derek, I want to thank you. We all want to thank you from ESPN for your insight, of course, on your sports knowledge in the NFL. Your originality is just fantastic.
Yes.
Your Rafiki Lion King reference and analogy is just amazing to start the segment. We greatly appreciate that. Quickly reminded me of the NFL put out a really good commercial last weekend with Beck doing Neil Diamond's song "Old Man," referencing this game that we were watching last night, and I thought it was just an unbelievable originality, and you reminded me of that right there. I thought that was fantastic. And while we're back there on Brady, tell me what went wrong. Do you think it's a Brady issue in Tampa, or is it something else, and what do they need to do to rectify that?
Well, how long is you guys' show again?
Well, we've got about 45 minutes left, but I don't have any more guests going on, so I can have you for 2 more segments if that works for you.
I was gonna say, how long you got, pal? Because I got a lot of grievances to air about the Buccaneers and where it all went wrong yesterday. So let me start by going ahead and saying that producing -3 rushing yards in the first half is the first thing that kind of jumped out to me. When you're looking at the pure box score, but really the tone was set with the opening kickoff, and Rashad White, coughing it up on the opening kick. And look, I understand the defense was playing lights out heading into this game, but if you give a team like the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes in particular extra possessions, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have a long night. And if you can't keep the ball out of his hands and you can't sustain drives because you have no balance on the offensive side of the football, because you can't run, then, yeah, you're digging yourself an even deeper hole. And, the Buccaneers, they got Patrick Mahomes yesterday. He was fantastic. But really the bigger concerns for me are the lack of balance on the offensive side. And they're still not on the same page. I mean, he got all of his weapons back yesterday, but it seemed like he was kind of out of sorts until the game was pretty much already out of hand. So for me, it's just going to be timing, consistency, balance on the offensive side of the football. I think the defense will get squared up. They've shown too much promise through the first 3 weeks to make me feel awful about, getting ousted by one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. So I'm not worried about the defense. The offense, though, definitely a little bit concerned. You don't want to ask Brady, even though how great he is, to have to carry the football team with no running game to speak of.
No doubt about it, Derek. We got to take a quick break. We'll have you right back with us when we get back. Just hold on. The Braves have clinched a playoff spot and are 2 games ahead in the National League East to win the title for their 5th straight year. I will be working my best to make sure that we have all of the Braves playoffs games on. You know, it's a tough time of the year to kind of balance everything. Speaking of balance and having an offense that's balanced, or balanced, it's tough sometimes, coordinating college football games, big-time college football games, NFL games where there's 4 in a day. But we are going to work our tail off to make sure that we have all the Braves playoffs games for you. That's brought to you by Bill Bird Kia. Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Ellis Agency Insurance, Panama City Toyota, PCB Coins and Cards, Brock's Pest Control, Guthrie's, and ESPN Northwest Florida. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes along with Boston Tim. When we get back, should Brady change his stance on Wednesday? Should he be with the team on Wednesdays? Find out what Derek Tate thinks about that when we get back.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your touchdown headquarters for the Mosley Dolphins and the Auburn Tigers. Plus, premier college and NFL games. Your source for the most live football on the Gulf Coast in a rich audio experience. 102.1, 104.3 in the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
Afternoon sunshine, a few scattered clouds in the low 80s. A northeast wind about 10 to 15. Water temperature in the Gulf 83. Partly cloudy, 55 to 60 overnight with light winds. Low 80s, mostly sunny skies planned for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Tiger TV Pro is a new streaming service that provides you with over 3,000 channels for only $15 a month. You probably spend more than that on lunch these days. Get local channels, entertainment networks, premium movie channels, news and weather channels, and more. Tiger TV Pro even includes all the sports networks, including ACC, SEC, NFL, MLB, and NHL. Sign up's easy. Just go to ESPNPC.com, scroll down, and click the Tiger logo.
Number of rings since 1987. Dallas Cowboys 0. J-Lo 5. Just saying. Now back to the Rib Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Let's go! You guys are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, and Apalachicola, and 102.1 in Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay. We are joined now by Derek Tate, NFL staff writer for The Athletic, and we left off talking about Tom Brady. So my question to you, Derek, is should he reconsider the taking Wednesdays offer? I mean, the guy's been doing this for so long. Does that even make sense to put him back in there on Wednesdays when he knows the offense like the back of his hand?
Yeah, but it's kind of being fully committed to everything, right? And you can't have that. You have that expectation for the rest of your teammates, right? So it's kind of an odd expectation that, okay, well, I can go ahead and take Wednesday off, every Wednesday off, just because I know everything. It's an inconsistent message, right? So how can you expect the rest of the team and the rest of the locker room to buy in when you're not in the office every single Wednesday of the week? Now, granted, it's Tom Brady, and Tom Brady can do whatever he wants. He's football royalty. He's on the Mount Rushmore of all-time sports icons. But I just think when it comes to being able to send the message that Brady likes to send, it's inconsistent with his normal demand of perfection from his teammates and from the organization. So, but the problem is, if he decides to start going back on Wednesday, he might show up at his house and his belongings are on the porch or something like that on Thursday. So, I don't know, man. It's a sticky situation. If Tom's doing what Tom feels is best for him, so I don't know, man. I feel like I shouldn't touch this one.
Yeah, I love that take. Actually, I love that. Now, my other question dealing with the Buccaneers is if you are the Bucs front office, if you're Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles, the coach there, do you think about now? You've had Julio Jones for one game. Do you think about just putting him on the sideline till week 14, 15 to when the division race really starts heating up, or if you've got the division, locked up, if you will, the seeding purposes, do you start playing them there? Would you think about just kind of trying to get the best version of Julio for 1 to 2 or maybe just the playoffs? Do you think about that situation?
I don't. No, I think that if you signed Julio Jones to a one-year deal to play football, then he's got to do his job, just like everybody else, man. And I understand he's a veteran and he's a future Hall of Famer and all that. But, newsflash, Julio Jones can't seem to stay healthy whether he's playing one game, two games. He played 7 games each of the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's healthy, he needs to be out there just because, that's what he signed on for. And it's not like he's been playing with Brady for 10-plus years. I mean, this is their first go-round together and probably their last go-round. So, I mean, they really need as many reps and as many opportunities to build chemistry as the season progresses. So when they do get to the playoffs, with the expectation that this team does win the NFC South, which, by the way, the Atlanta Falcons, they're no joke. I'm just saying that they need as many reps and as many people on the same page as possible as this season progresses if they really want to go where they want to go, which is to the Super Bowl.
No doubt about it. We're talking with Derek Tate, NFL staff writer for The Athletic. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. So Pittsburgh deciding today that they're going to be rolling with Kenny Pickett, the rookie quarterback, moving forward. And in fact, I read a crazy stat today that I forget how many passes it was that he threw. I think it was 16 or so, but none of them hit the ground. They either landed in the hands of the Steelers receivers or in the hand of the Jets defensemen. What are you thinking about Kenny Pickett moving forward, especially when their next matchup is against the Buffalo Bills and there's a little bit of familiarity with Mitch Trubisky?
It's making me think, Kenny Pickett. Well, he might not be able to save the Alamo, but hopefully he can save the Steelers. It's not going to be this Sunday, though, against the Bills. The Bills are going to do their thing. That is a very, very, very tough opening, start in the National Football League against a team that is expected to be making a serious push for the Lombardi Trophy. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a rough outing for Pickett. Certainly the Steelers' defense is always going to give him a chance, but if you really want to upset the Bills, you're going to really need that running game and Najee Harris to be able to help out Pickett in his opening start. I thought you saw some good things, some bad things. Obviously, he's a rookie that was kind of thrown into a situation. I'm just saying, when it comes to Mike Tomlin, far be it me to criticize a future Hall of Fame coach, but you do got to kind of wonder, if you knew Pickett was going to be the guy and Trubisky ain't it, you just wasted 3.5 games with Mitchell Trubisky under center when you could have given the reins to Pickett from the jump, and maybe you get an extra win or two, and maybe that's the difference between the Steelers making the playoffs or not in 2022.
I mean, just a solid take. This is Derek Tate joining us again here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is your boy Boston T. I wanted to jump into tonight's game, if you don't mind. The NFC title rematch, 49ers and the Rams looking pretty good. My question here is going to kind of surround Aaron Donald, right? The last 5 games that they've had, against the 49ers, he's only gotten 1 sack. The 6 previous before that, he had 10.5 sacks. And I wonder, if the 49ers really have a game plan and it's just had been working out with Aaron Donald, or is it that he just has had issues going up against maybe like a Trent Williams who's going to be out this week? Tell me what your thoughts are on how Aaron Donald is going to do tonight and how the 49ers have been against him.
Yeah, I mean, the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play callers, schemers offensively in the National Football League. And anytime you're going up against the challenge of someone like Aaron Donald, unless you're the likes of Urban Meyer, you know exactly who he is. There's a little Urban Meyer joke. Sorry about that. But, anywho, no, in all seriousness, Aaron Donald's a problem for anybody and everybody that has to try to scheme him up, because there's no answer for trying to get rid of him. And, yeah, maybe the sacks haven't been there, but if you go back and watch the tape, Aaron Donald is, a nuisance on every single snap, and in particular with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's not a mobile quarterback. And Donald, what he does is he absolutely train wrecks the interior of your pass protection. So ultimately, it's all about scheme and getting the ball out of Jimmy G's hands before Aaron Donald has a chance to, dismiss 2 or 3 49ers offensive linemen in pursuit of the quarterback. So it's a little bit of both. I think that it's an interesting chess match and a game within a game between, 2 very talented coaching staffs.
Absolutely. And, with the just unbelievable amount of injuries that we're seeing on both sides of the ball for the 49ers, we see Vegas still has them being at home with a now up to 2-point advantage in this game coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that, bringing up all these guys, Willie Snead had to come up, Malik Turner, Tevin Coleman, and a number of guys on defense as well. Are they going to be strong enough to be able to take on the Rams as well as cover this 2-point spread?
Yeah, I don't think they're covering the 2-point spread. I actually believe that the Los Angeles Rams are going to win this game. I personally believe a little bit more in Matthew Stafford than I do in Jimmy Garoppolo. And you're right, the Niners are banged up. I get that they've got Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and certainly some other playmakers on the offensive side of the football. But, at some point, those injuries, including Trent Williams, that you already mentioned, that's a big one for me. I think we're going to see them getting a little bit more pressure off the edges in this one to kind of heat up and speed up that shot clock for Jimmy Garoppolo. I also think it's a better outing for Cam Akers, who's built off of 2 decent performances in weeks 2 and 3 after obviously a 3-carry dud in the season opener against the Bills.
Who do you think gets majority of the carries this evening, Darrell Henderson or Cam Akers?
Give me Cam. I'm seeing it in 2 straight weeks. Make it a third. Let's make it a trend. Let's make it a thing.
I like it.
I'm trying to speak this Cam Akers into existence, man. Former FSU guy. Come on.
There we go. Coming off that gruesome injury from last year, then making his way into the playoffs a lot sooner than anyone else expected. Was a high-value draft pick in terms of fantasy in the fantasy football world, and then Darrell Henderson just kind of changed that momentum, if you will, after the first week. But like you said, the previous 2 weeks, it's been the Cam Akers show. Sticking with the West, but over on the AFC sides of things here, the Raiders claimed the first win of this year over divisional rival, the Broncos. Are you surprised that Geno Smith, I know I'm throwing the Seahawks into this, but are you surprised that Geno Smith is outperforming Russell Wilson statistically speaking?
I would classify it as very surprised. On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 9.1, I suppose.
There we go.
I felt like we simply wrote off some of the concerns when it came to Russell Wilson's performance last season. We kind of wrote it off. Oh, he had a finger injury and all the falling out between him and Pete Carroll. But look, let's not forget that the Seahawks really had a disappointing year last year, and Russ played his part in that. So combine that with some natural age decline and a first-time head coach in Nathaniel Hackett, who looks like he's kind of just figuring out this whole head coaching thing on the fly. And you got to tip your hat to Pete Carroll, who has, given his vote of confidence to Geno Smith. And Geno is making the most of his last opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And to his credit, he has outplayed pretty much everybody's expectations with this opportunity. So, yeah, I'm very surprised, but I kind of feel good for Geno Smith.
Yeah, I like Geno. We know one thing. He's got a strong jaw, that's for sure.
And he doesn't write back.
See what you did there. Oh, man.
Well, as a Boston fan, if we could just briefly jump over and talk about, obviously, not starting with Mac, having Hoyer come in, get injured, and then us having the ability to see Bailey Zappi. Let's talk about Bailey Zappi. What you think about him and his future?
You know, it's an interesting one. Why did they select him in the first place? You know, it made you raise an eyebrow when they took another quarterback a year after Mac Jones had a really encouraging rookie season. But then you see Bailey Zappi and, you know, the Western Kentucky Hilltopper, man. I gotta say, for being pressed into action, you know, not expecting to play at Lambeau Field against a pretty stout Green Bay defense, like you gotta give this young man some kudos, a little bit of love, some flowers, whatever the kids call it nowadays. But what do I see for him moving forward? I mean, as soon as Mac Jones gets healthy, I think he's going right back to the bench. But, you know, it's possibly something where if he shows promise while Mac Jones is on the shelf and we don't see Brian Hoyer or anything like that in the next game, if Bailey Zappi can impress the coaching staff and maybe do what Cooper Rush is doing right now down in Dallas, maybe he's got himself a future in the NFL somewhere other than New England, or maybe it creates a quarterback controversy. Who knows with Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I've never been a huge fan of Mac, so for me, you know, it's like my buddy Timone says, sometimes you just got to put your past behind you.
Who's the brains of this operation, right? Yeah, my point exactly.
All right, Derek Tate, before we do get out of here, I want to get your opinion on fantasy trade analyzers. First off, how accurate are they with their algorithms? And is there a particular fantasy trade analyzer that you yourself prefer?
Yeah, me and my own head. You know, I'm just kind of like shooting out algorithms as people, you know, shoot questions at me. There's actually for Dynasty football, for any of you Dynasty fantasy football aficionados, there's Dynasty 101 Trade Calculator. I do trust that as a resource. They do a pretty good job of kind of balancing future draft pick assets along with long-term value and current updated like rankings to and from, kind of like almost like a fantasy stock market. They do a really good job if you want to check them out. But as far as like other trade tools that are, they fluctuate way too much for the non-dynasty ones for my liking. So I kind of stay away from them, and I just kind of go off my own gut, to call it.
So the reason this question came up is because me and Caveman Rick are playing in a league together, and we've been trying to figure out something. So he has Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, and I've got Tua and Derek Carr. So I'm definitely in the market for a quarterback. So I sent him as a you know, the first chip in the bargaining side of things, if you will. I was like, here, Amari Cooper for one of your quarterbacks, and then like that'll just be the starting point. And you know, what else would you like? Expecting, you know, obviously you're not going to do Amari Cooper for one of those quarterbacks. And then he wanted Nick Chubb for me. So where are we at in those term of things? Like, is Nick Chubb a good trade for one of those quarterbacks, or should it be, you know, a meet in the middle somewhere?
I'm definitely not giving up Nick Chubb for a one quarterback league. Let's put it that way. If it's two quarterbacks, then or super flex or something, then maybe it's a little bit of a conversation that I would entertain in some way. But just off the surface for a one quarterback league, nah, man, I'm not giving up a bona fide top 10 running back for a quarterback. I could just, you know, go to the waiver wire and try to scream another option. Even though I do love Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, I'm not giving up a guy like Nick Chubb to bring on Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson.
Now, how far away is Amari Cooper for one of those guys?
In a one quarterback league, and if it's a 10 or 12 team league, then that's right around actually. I mean, probably a little bit more than Amari Cooper, but maybe not a whole lot. I mean, maybe just another you know, flex option or something like that, or pair one of the quarterbacks, so he can kind of replace him, like, maybe throw in Tua if you really, really, really want to push it past the finish line, so at least he's not losing his quarterback depth. And when Tua comes back, he'll probably have a nice option that he can roll in and out or have as a backup.
Hey, good stuff, Derek. Man, can't wait for the ball game tonight. Can't wait to have you back with us next week, and we can break down what will it be, week 5 at that point?
And the weeks keep on coming, man. And before we know it, we'll be through it. NFL season, I'm going to go back into hibernation. So thanks for having me on, and we're taking full advantage of this NFL season, my friend.
No doubt about it. As always, great to have Derek Tate on with us. Such a great friend of the show, and just seeing his growth through, starting out at he was doing lots before that, graduating from USF, then, doing the news and other NFL stuff for Newsnet up in Cadillac, Michigan. Now he's writing for The Athletic. I'm loving it, man. So excited for Derek Tate and his family as well. We're going to take a quick timeout, come back, talk a little bit about some college football, and then I'll get into the last segment of the day. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and you're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Hurricane Ian is impacting residents here in Florida right now, and we're collecting items people need immediately. Baby food, first aid, batteries, work gloves, over-the-counter medicine, diapers, toiletries, female products, and non-perishable food items like peanut butter that you don't have to cook. Items can be dropped off at our new offices on the beach, 204 Suite B, Ellen Lane. Hurricane Relief America is sponsored by Event Production, Blab TV, and ESPN Northwest Florida. Since 1955, Buddy Gandy's Seafood Market has been providing their customers with the freshest seafood in Panama City. Whether you're cooking something small or hosting a big get-together, Buddy Gandy's has you covered with a variety of fish, oysters, shrimp, crab legs, live blue crabs, a steam bar, and more. They'll even clean your catch for you. Open 7 days a week near the intersection of Beck Avenue and Highway 98. Don't forget to mention 104.3 ESPN for your 10% discount. Visit Buddy Gandy's Seafood Market on Facebook.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. Making it to work on time may be hard, but the journey itself doesn't have to be. When I come back, I'll provide some commuting comforts that'll make your 5 o'clock horses easier to ride.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
So what creature comforts do commuters crave in their automotive beast of burden? Per Edmunds.com, comfortable seats and well-designed cup holders make the ride in the saddle physically cozy, while in-dash CD players and wheel-mounted radio controls allow ample entertainment with minimal hassle. In-console PowerPoints and hands-free voice-activated phone systems make it easy for office-bound pilgrims to do a little business before they arrive. And since feeding the horses under your hood can take the gold right out of your saddlebags, good gas mileage can really make a difference between an old gray mare and a red-hot pony. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. From Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge. We're live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is going to be a quick segment, but you guys are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on 104.3 here in Panama City. We're on 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, and Apalachicola, and 102.1 in Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay. We're going to be giving you a chance to a SEC championship getaway. That'll be coming soon, October 10th, so next Monday, matter of fact. And you can do that on the Coach James Hale Show in the morning or right here on the Afternoon Underdogs. Before I lose Boston Tim for the rest of the day, Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, all leaving the field together in their final regular season game in Busch Stadium in St. Louis. I'll ask you how you feel about that, and then also about the first and last regular season at bats for Mr. Albert Pujols, number 5. Mr. 702 were home runs, number 1 in 702. How awesome of an ending of the story as we see it today, and then your thoughts on all 3 of those legends, Cardinals legends, being brought out at the same time.
Right, absolutely. Let's start with 1 in 702, right? So the guys at ESPN at 30 for 30, they just sat back in their chairs. They're like,
yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't have to do any work anymore.
Yeah.
I literally have to fill about 6 minutes of time in between the start and the finish because you just did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
As if he hasn't already done it the entire time he's been out there playing. I mean, who really knows what age, right? I mean,
that is so funny.
no offense to him, but we lost birth certificate records, blah, 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 whatever. He's still an unbelievable player and an unbelievable representative of the game. The way that he is so unselfish when it comes to the fans is probably the best part about Albert Pujols. You know, not asking for any of the balls back. He doesn't care about that.
Let history be history.
He gets a paycheck. He's doing his job.
Mm-hmm.
The game of baseball is for the fans. And he is one of the very few people that actually sees that.
Yeah.
And I love him for
Well, he's from that generation where they knew that their paycheck was coming because there was people and their butts were in the seats. Now, these other guys are in that, what we see a lot of in this generation, they're entitled. And it's hard to blame them because we helped them become that way,
right. And
in
like
a
you
sense.
said, he's from, Lord knows, maybe 3 generations back. He's probably 61 years old for all I know.
I mean, isn't it kind of more so impressive though that if that was the case and the whole birth certificate thing, that would make him in a sense older than what he actually is.
Well, right.
And he's still doing it at this age.
There was an interview that he did, and he talked about his very first professional at bat at 12 years old. He was taking his first professional at bat, and in that interview, he goes, "And look at where I am right now, 28 years later." Right, 28 plus 12 is 40.
Yeah.
But he was 38 years old on the books in the MLB at that point in time.
Yeah.
So what's his real age? No, he didn't. He won't.
Well, but to be fair, once you get past that 30 threshold, right, all of the years kind of start to blend together, and you just round up every now and again.
I don't know. Maybe you have to ask old Tom Brady about that. I swear that man doesn't forget anything.
Yeah, but that's a totally different sport, right? Where you remember all the licks that you've taken, whereas for Pujols, he's giving licks out. Well, unless he's taking a strikeout or getting hit, right? Then he's taking licks. But for the most part, he's sending them out of the ballpark at least 702 times.
Right. And then as far as the big 3 of them, unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Great representation in all of them. Yachty, probably. From what I've read, obviously I didn't play professional baseball, but from what I read, one of the most fun people to be around in the clubhouse, constantly playing pranks. And
Adam Wainwright knows that ridiculous. More than anyone.
Right. I mean, in Adam's stories, I think were something about maybe pouring water down his pants or something like that.
Anytime he wasn't pitching.
He didn't pitch 4 days a week. So that's pretty cool, and just having fun and knowing that, while this is my job, this is probably the most fortunate thing for somebody in the world to be able to do, to actually do what they love, and what they love doing also be a sport that provides not just a pastime for people, but a lot of times an escape, right?
Yeah, distraction. So huge.
He was so amazing about that, and on top of that, unbelievably talented, and then on top of that, the ability to be a catcher for 17 years.
Them old knees, man.
And to still have the arm, the jump up and reaction ability to have that he has is just, it's unheard of, and a blessing that he was able to last as long as he did.
These days, you got kids in middle school baseball wearing those knee savers. You don't see that on old Yadier Molina or really any other professional catcher. Now that I'm thinking about it, as big as knee savers became when I was a kid, I think I'm sure that they were already out before, but knee savers, when I say that, those are the pads that they attach to their straps. I know that I'm just kind of explaining for the people who might be like, knee savers, is that a new medication catchers are taking or something? So, but you don't see that at the pro level. Now, one other thing I do want to try to get to, because I know that you're an outdoorsman, and you're also you're on the side of keeping things fair. So, big video came out this weekend of the Lake Erie fishing tournament, and you had 2 guys. What were their names? Kaminsky and Jacob Runyon of Broadview Heights, Ohio, and Chase Kaminsky was of Hermitage, Pennsylvania, and they were immediately disqualified for what? Well, they took weights and put them in the walleye and had, I mean, if you saw the video, they were cutting these fish open and taking not only weights out, but also fillets of other walleyes out of these fish. And so here's my thing, right? I heard a lot of people saying, call the police. And in my mind, at that particular point in time, I'm like, call the police on what? Like, he fleeced a fishing tournament.
Right. Then
now they're getting the authorities involved, and that is felony theft, which did not even cross my mind at the point in time. The money of the tournament did cross my mind. I'm like, yeah, he should pay that back and never be allowed to fish any kind of tournament ever. And honestly, the director of the tournament shouldn't have said, get out of here now. He should have said, you know what, mob? Go ahead. Like, do your worst. But that's not responsible of the tournament director, no doubt, and the law should take care of it. And it does seem to be a felony theft. What is your thoughts on this as a avid outdoorsman, and also integrity is a big thing for you and I.
Absolutely. That's the big thing about golf, is you can go out and play with all your 25 and 35-year-old friends, and if you're very, very lucky, 1 out of 10 of them is going to have integrity the entirety of the game, right? And that's what you're seeing here is a lack of integrity. It's exactly what it is. They're actually catching the fish. You're doing a great job catching the fish, but now you want to lose your integrity and force feed them to make them weigh more.
Can you even eat the fish at that point in time because you're putting lead weights?
Yeah,
right.
You could. It wouldn't have enough time for it to get into the system of the fish and then actually get into the.
Because that's the whole point of fishing, right? Like, y'all can have fun with your tournaments and stuff like that, but if you're letting the fish go to waste, in my mind, your integrity's lacking right there.
Exactly. And then the issue would become: are they returning those fish afterwards?
That's where true that.
Become an issue. But for me, I mean, absolutely horrible. I'm glad that they got the authorities involved in this. It's a necessity because it is theft, and it's not like it's the first time it's happened. They said that it's happened on multiple occasions throughout this season. So now you have it, all of these different locations that they're going to, all that representation that's happening at those places is all now going to have a negative feedback from it, and that's all because of this guy cheating the system, and that really looks bad not only on him, but then also on the sport in itself and the people that are running that sport.
Yeah, and running that particular tournament, right? Because it seemed like for me, and I'm not speculating on this or going any further with this, but the tournament director was being very generous and saying, "Hey, you guys need to get out of here. Like, there's being some obscenities being slurred around at you right now. You need to get out of here." And it's almost like, it's almost like, hey, like helping them out. But I think the reason why I say I'm not speculating is because to me, he was saying that, yeah, but it was because who wants to see these type of violent things happen at a thing that they run? You would rather keep the peace and deal with these things in a honorable manner, if you will.
Just move them on, do the right thing. That's why our authorities are in place. Right? Just move them on. Get them over with, and let the people that deserve that trophy get that trophy.
And I've also seen pictures of them holding up the fish before the weigh-in, and the belly just looks like it was pregnant 3 or 4 times. Like you've got, fish have a lot of eggs at the same point in time. You know what I mean? So like 5 times over that, and it's just like how did you think? You must have done it. You had to have done it so many times that you just got so comfortable and, complacent with it. Boston Tim, you got to head out after this segment?
I do. I got to get out of here, yep.
It was so great having you in. Boston Tim, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys will complain enough that we can get him back in here plenty of times because I love it when my man is on. We're getting ready for the last segment of the day. Hey, give me your call, 850, dial the area code 215-5006, and give me your best and worst of the weekend. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to be right back.
It's here. The 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app version 2.0. Now featuring ultra high fidelity. You'll feel like you're in the game. Plus more opportunities to win weekly prizes from local businesses when you click it to win it. Download the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app today at Google Play or the Apple Store.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey, cheesy, crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Tiger TV Pro is a new streaming service that provides you with over 3,000 channels for only $15 a month. You probably spend more than that on lunch these days. Get local channels, entertainment networks, premium movie channels, news and weather channels, and more. Tiger TV Pro even includes all the sports networks, including ACC, SEC, NFL, MLB, and NHL. Sign up's easy. Just go to ESPNPC.com, scroll down, and click the Tiger logo.
As a realtor, it's important who you choose as your title company. May we suggest South Oak Title? Their offices are modern, comfortable, and state-of-the-art. South Oak Title can close transactions in any location in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. Their free mobile app allows realtors to deliver a net sheet in seconds. They provide mobile closing services to accommodate buyers and sellers. Their offices are beautifully decorated, state-of-the-art, complete, safe, and secure. South Oak Title, creating a better title and closing experience through technology and tailored service. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
Hometown Sports Talk from hometown hosts.
People are loving it.
We're live and local. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
Are you kidding me?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
All right, we are back for the final segment of the day, guys, and we've only got less than 3 minutes here. Caveman Rick with a comment, most tournaments are catch and release anyway, so, I've never fished in a fishing tournament before, so I am ignorant to that, and they say ignorance is bliss. I am excited for the Real Fishing Report this Thursday at 5:15. I'm sure that this topic will come up at some point. I saw a lot of outrage on social media for this particular tournament. Let's get into some high school football quickly here. Like I said, not a lot of time left to go. Wednesday, they moved this game just in, I believe because of Hurricane Ian. So actually, I probably shouldn't say that because I'm not entirely sure. But South Walton and Rutherford went after it at Tommy Oliver on Wednesday afternoon. South Walton ended up getting the better of the Rams 45-6. Friday in Tallahassee, Childs took down Mosley 28-21. Now, the Mosley Dolphins played they played their heart out. Devin Mallard was our player of the game with an interception. He's a defensive lineman and ended up catching a tipped pass, and that was absolutely awesome. But one thing I want to point out about Childs is they ran a very close to a triple option, and I saw something that I have never seen in football before, where they would fake the handoff to the running back, and then the quarterback would then reach around the running back, and he would shove the ball into the running back's hands there. It was so odd because he had me tricked 2 to 3 times in that ball game, but each and every time I was just, and they would run so many different variations of that. So Childs comes away with the win, 28-21. Bay shuts out North Bay Haven. A fantastic season the Bay High Tornadoes are having right now, 48-0. Niceville, who's going to be next to the last opponent that the Mosley Dolphins face, takes down Crestview, who's also on the Mosley schedule, 13-9. Sneeds, how about that running back over there, Mr. Patterson, shutting out Liberty 34-0. Freeport walks into Bozeman and hands them a 10-point loss, 34-24. West Florida all over Walton, 50-29. Contandale, that's Cottondale, they beat Weewaw and the Gators 30-14. Holmes shuts out Vernon 42-0. Godby takes down the Bulldogs of Mariana 22-14. Monroe shuts out Rocky Bayou 54-0. And the same score for Pine Forest, who beat Fort Walton Beach 54-0. And Jay beats the first-year Dustin team 25-6. Arnold, Chipley, Graceville, and Choctaw, they were all on bye weeks. Fine Bombs coming up next. Then we're going to get you to the coverage for the Rams 49ers game starting at 6:30. You've been listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes. I've had Max DeLayden and Boston Tim with me for the majority of the day. We're on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, and Apalachicola, and 102.1 in Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay. We're going to be giving you a chance to win a championship giveaway. Make sure you tune in to the Coach James Hale Show at 7 a.m. in the morning. And also, thoughts and prayers up for Miles. He should be with me tomorrow, but had some testing going on today. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Coach James Hale Show live at 7 a.m.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your radio home for live and local sports coverage.